Okay, good evening, class. My name is Gabrielle Rains, and my group and I were assigned Queen Elizabeth and colonialism, and we're just going over how they connect and what's the similarities between the two. So before we get started, I just wanted to say that this presentation is not meant to offend anybody. We're not trying to condemn Queen Elizabeth or hurt anybody in the UK. Just the main objective is to inform people about colonialism and its effects. Now I can begin. So Queen Elizabeth II, she was very well liked from the beginning of time when she was born. So Queen Elizabeth has had it all. She was part of a big family. She had huge castles that she lived in. She had guards, servants, nice clothes, lots of jewelry. She was obviously royal. She was royal family, and finally she was known for having cute dogs. She has the corgis. So she expressed a friendly and professional personality, so she was well liked by plenty of people, celebrities, late night show hosts, politicians, presidents, like all of the above. She hosted plenty of parties for the wealthy community. Like I said, she was rich, and she's met many politicians before. A ton of books have come out about her, magazines, there's shows, movies, all on Netflix, and you can learn a lot from about her and her family history through media. Queen Elizabeth represented the UK for 70 years. She was the longest reigning monarch in British history. So, obviously, since she was born until her young adult years, she was the queen, and it's a long time. She was the UK's figurehead on the world stage. So, even though the Prime Minister and Parliament were behind the scenes figuring out everything, having an influence on decisions in England and like across the world, she was the head of what everybody saw. So she supported she supported British citizens through good and bad times during her reign. To some, she set a lasting example for how people should treat other people despite their differences. So she's a good example of even when someone you don't like or someone that you're not fond of, when you're having a difference, she's a great example on working the differences out and just coming to a good compromise when you need to agree on something. Media outlets from many countries, like I said, covered her public appearance and family drama, all the in between. There's a couple pictures. Her death, as many of you know, it was September 8th of 2022. Queen Elizabeth passed away in her sleep, surrounded by family and her servants. Her funeral service aired live on TV. I'm sure a lot of you saw a lot of news coverage on it. Basically, the whole week was just dedicated for that. A lot of people waited in long lines to pay their respects. Some mourned her death and others celebrated, and we're wondering why that is. How did the UK get its wealth status? So colonialism may be how England got so rich over time. Colonialism, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is domination of people or area by foreign state or a nation. Wars may result from conflicts of interest between the big country wanting to expand its territory and the smaller country that wants to be left alone. So there's a war. Some examples of British colonialism before Elizabeth. In Ireland, England's first colony, it was taken over by Britain in the 12th century. It lost its law, its culture, and its freedom. Ireland was a British colony for over 700 years until breaking from the UK in 1922. India had been under British control for 89 years since the Battle of Plassey in 1757 until India got its independence in 1947. The northeast part of North America were claimed by Britain in the early 17th century. because many British pilgrims wanted religious freedom and prosperity, which eventually led to the creation of the United States in 1776. Examples of British colonialism in 1965, British spies began a campaign against the Indonesian government, inciting violence. This resulted in the Indonesians' mass killings. The Mau Mau Rebellion. It was a war in Britain, ruled by Kenya, between Kenyan rebels and British authorities from 1952 to 1960. It resulted in a victory for England, and many rebels detained and tortured without a fair trial. So, despite Ireland breaking away from Britain in 1922, Northern Ireland was still owned by Britain, leading to the troubles between nationalists and unionists from the late 1960s to the 1990s, resulting in 3,700 Irish people. There's a few pictures. You may be wondering how Elizabeth connects to colonialism. So those are a few examples, and there's many more that didn't get a lot of attention. Of course, the media wants to show you what they want you to see, and they don't want you to have any other way of thinking. They don't want you to see the violence. They don't want you to see the gory. So they just hid a lot of stuff. So we're wondering, should any stories about the UK committing violence and practicing colonialism get out at any time? Like, could that do damage to England and the Queen's reputation? So the Queen touring America would definitely entice more people to read the media magazines, and many deaths in that country committed, it wouldn't get the attention that it was needed. So there's the Queen in a picture. The United Kingdom after Queen Elizabeth. So a lot of people are celebrating. Many come from a country, a lot of people celebrating her death may come from a country negatively affected by England's colonialist practices. So they aren't wrong to feel that they are owed reparations. Elizabeth chose to improve the lives of the English citizens, no matter what that would cost. Even the smaller countries that England robbed from them. I mean, she may have been the nice person that the media made her out to be, but there was no excuse to rob poor nations. She took their ability to support themselves, and now people can see what colonialism is, and have a clear picture of it. So now that the Queen has passed, King Charles gets to inherit everything that his mother left for him. So will he finally give reparations to the countries? We're wondering, how will English citizens think of Queen Elizabeth after learning that their home's nation colonialist past? Will Great Britain choose to be generous instead of greedy? You never know. Nobody really knows. So there is King Charles right now. A few more pictures, and that is all. Thank you guys for listening. We just want to say happy holidays, and thank you, Mr. Ely, for having this class for us. Thank you.